Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new here. My name is Allie and welcome to the top comment where I read and react to insane internet chaos in the form of Reddit stories. So if you like this type of content, please don't forget to subscribe. It is totally free and it means the world to me. Happy Sunday, you filthy animals. Welcome back to another episode of the top comment. Today we are going to be talking about bold, Delulu, and dumb humans of the internet. We're going to be judging all of the idiots and all of the people who thought they could fake it till they make it, and it just ended up in disaster for them. So buckle up, get ready for today's chaos. If you already tuned into Tuesday and Thursday's episodes, don't feel bad if you want to skip ahead and use the timestamps. I have them listed right below for you. They will take you straight there. For everybody else who's with me for the first time, buckle up, we are going for a wild ride today. Let's get into it. The first story that we are going to be reading today comes from r/AITAH, and it says, "Am I the a-hole for selling my Taylor Swift tickets after my girlfriend cheated? A few months back, I, a 27-year-old man, won some money on stake and decided to surprise my girlfriend, a 25-year-old woman, with Taylor Swift tickets for her Vancouver show. She's been a massive Swiftie since forever, and I knew this would mean the world to her. I spent around $800 for two really good seats. Last week, I discovered she'd been secretly meeting up with her work friend for months. I found out because she accidentally left her Instagram DMs open on my laptop. She'd been using it to print something. And I saw weeks of flirty messages and plans to meet up. When I confronted her, she tried to deny it at first, but eventually admitted that they had kissed several times and had been having an emotional affair. I think she passed the emotional part when they decided to make out with each other. I was devastated. These tickets were meant to be a special experience for us, and I couldn't stomach the thought of taking her after this betrayal. Rather than let them go to waste, I decided to sell them. Given how insane the Taylor Swift ticket market is right now, I managed to sell them for $2,400, triple what I paid. When she found out I sold the tickets, she completely lost it. She's been blowing up my phone, calling me petty and cruel, saying I ruined her dream and that the tickets were a gift, so they rightfully belong to her. Her friends also messaged me saying I'm an awful person for using the tickets to hurt her. I feel like I had every right to sell the tickets that I bought with my own money, especially after what she did, but she's making me feel like I took things too far. Am I the asshole?" No, you're not the asshole. She cheated on you. Don't do the crime if you can't do the time, girl. Why would you just went out of your way to buy her tickets and she still has the audacity to cheat on you? I'm glad you resold them and made a little bit of money on it, although two tickets for $2,400 is pretty insane, but I'm someone who drove all the way up to Denver to go see her on my birthday, and I stood outside of Empower Field and it was literally the best night ever. It was amazing. But I don't think you did the wrong thing here. And I also think that they stepped over the boundary of having an emotional affair when they made out with each other, which I guarantee is not all they've done unless they're like 15 years old and she's almost 30. So you know that they have been on the low. I'm sorry this happened to you, but I don't think you're the asshole. So let's go ahead and jump into the comments and see what everybody else has to say. The top comment says, "Who gives a shit what a cheater and her gross friends think about you? Block them and move on, not the a-hole. The block button is free. I would definitely use it if I were you." Her friends also suck too. Like, why are they coming at you when she's so clearly in the wrong? I hate it when people are blatantly wrong and still sit there with their full chest puffed out saying that they're in the right. Like, no. The next comment says, "I am unpopular with the cheater's friends. Woe is me." Yeah, you really didn't do anything wrong here, but I get the gaslighting level of them probably making you feel terrible, but you have no reason to feel terrible. She should feel terrible for cheating on you. You sound cool as f. You're gonna sit there and buy $800 Taylor Swift tickets just to take your girl. I love that. I hope you find somebody better. The next comment says, "Not the a-hole. It wasn't an emotional affair if they were kissing. It was an actual affair. If you still took her to a concert after she had an affair with someone else, else, that would be weird. You should move on and let her have her new relationship out in the open and let that person buy her Taylor Swift tickets. You know, she completely ruined her own life on this, and that's her fault that she doesn't get to see T-Swizz just because she decided to be a grimy little cheater. The next comment says, should have offered to sell the tickets to her new boyfriend for $3,200. You really should have. I guarantee she would have probably gone to him and said, you ruined my life. You need to buy these for me. Meh. I don't like her, in case you can't tell. The next comment says, and that's how you become the ticket master. The last comment says, every time she reaches out, just reply with some Taylor Swift, you f***ed up lyrics. We are never ever getting back together. We used to have mad love, but now we have bad blood. Look what you made me do. I agree with that. Nothing hits a Swiftie harder than having Taylor's lyrics used against us. I wouldn't personally know, but I imagine. You're not the a-hole. I'm glad you dumped her. Quit feeling bad. I want you to block these bitches and go about your life and go find you somebody who truly loves you and appreciates the hell out of you, because those tickets were not easy to get, okay? They were not easy. So I think you deserve someone that is going to appreciate all of the effort that you put in for them. The next story comes from Petty Revenge, and it says, you don't like your boyfriend seeing me braless in the dorm? Then he won't. I live in a college dorm on an all-female floor. I usually wear a bra when leaving the dorm building, but I'm not going to put a bra on under my shirt just to walk down the hallway to the bathroom. A few days ago, I left my room and I walked 10 yards down the hall to the water fountain, refilled my water bottle, and went back to my room. I was wearing a white tank top and no bra. The tank top was fitted but not see-through, so you could only see the outline of my nips. There was a small group of people hanging out in the hall outside of a few of the rooms, but I didn't think much of it until around half an hour later when I got a knock on the door from one of the girls I'd seen in the hall. She said something to the effect of, hey, so sorry to ask you this, but if you go out into the hall again, could you put a bra on? My boyfriend's out there. So he was staring a little. So I'm not super confrontational. So I was like, yeah, sure. Sorry about that. And for the rest of the night, anytime I left my room, I put a bra or a full sweater on. And that was the end of it, or so I thought. The next day, my roommate told me she'd overheard the girl telling a few of her friends about the incident while in the bathroom. She said the girl was making it sound like I'd been purposefully trying to seduce her boyfriend, wearing basically nothing, taking my time at the water fountain, posing to push my tits out, the whole works. When she left the bathroom, my roommate said that the girl was actually acting it out at the water fountain, pretending to be me. That night, I passed the girl and some of her friends on the way to brush my teeth. I wasn't wearing a bra. I was already in my PJs. The girl looked and pointed down at my chest, and all of them started giggling. But the last straw was when the entire dorm got an email from the RA yesterday saying she'd gotten some anonymous complaints about people dressing inappropriately in the hallways and asking that we all just make sure we're keeping things covered up appropriately. So here's where I got my petty little revenge. I knew that the girl's boyfriend doesn't go to college here. The girl and I were in the same orientation group and chatted a bit back then. I also knew, due to the pandemic, we aren't allowed to have non-student or non-family guests in the dorm this year. So I used the same anonymous complaint form to issue a complaint about people bringing their off-campus boyfriends into our dorm and them not wearing a mask. Masks are mandatory right now in the hallways, although not frequently enforced. This morning, the RA emailed again saying that due to anonymous complaints, they'd be enforcing the no off-campus guest rule by checking IDs of unfamiliar guests to make sure that they were students from then on. Really, this girl should be thanking me. If she was concerned about her boyfriend seeing the vague outline of my tits in the dorm hallways, she no longer needs to worry. I love this for you. This is such good petty revenge. I have no sympathy for this girl or her slimy boyfriend. Like, get out of the dorms. This story was obviously written during COVID, so no pandemic is going on right now. No masks are needed right now, but I don't like girls like that. I will tell you right now a little story about when I went to college. My first year, I roomed with this girl, and she was kind of in a similar situation, but she had a fiance, and he was 14 years older than her. Gross and creepy and smelled horrible. Every time she would be like, hey girl, I really need the room tonight. My boyfriend's coming in from out of town. Ugh, God, I hated this girl. She would sit there and say it just like that in her shrilly little Gypsy Rose voice just to get under my skin. And she would tell me that she needed the room because her boyfriend was going to be there. And I swear to God, y'all, anytime I would go back into the dorm room after they were done doing whatever it is that they were doing. I don't even want to think about it. Tell me why my room straight up would smell like ass and cigarettes. Like, disgusting. 0 out of 10 experience. I ended up switching rooms like halfway through the semester. It was insane. And then she would sit there and judge me for going out and having a good time when she would sit at home in her jammies at 8 p.m. on a Friday night and FaceTime her 36-year-old boyfriend. Like, she was 18. So maybe I did the math wrong on that. Maybe he was older than 14 years older. If he was 36 and she was 18, I don't know. Math wasn't my strong suit. So you guys can figure that one out. But I can definitely relate here. I'm so glad that you got him kicked out. I think that is so funny. And I hope that girl is just pissed. Don't make fun of people for their bodies. What is wrong with you, you college little snotty brats? Grow up. Date someone who goes to your own school. Like, I'm gonna full on judge you in the most judgiest of judgmental ways because 1, I'm on one from the day that I've had today, and 2, this is my channel and I can do what I want. Let's go ahead and read the comments. The top comment on this one says, I'm also pretty petty. I have to tell you that before I got to the end, I was thinking if it were me, I would walk down the hall in my bra but with no shirt on. I mean, hey, it's wearing a bra, which is technically what she asked for. The next comment says, I think the bra should have been over the tank top. Right? Like, if you're just walking to the water fountain, your dorm is your home. This lady makes me want to rage. The next comment says, I like how him looking at your tits somehow means that you need to correct your behavior. That bitch is nuts. Yeah, she is an anti-feminist and I hate her with every fiber of my literal being right now. The next comment says, I don't think I've ever seen a relationship up close where one person was extremely jealous and it didn't end badly. That poor dude. You know, she's the sort who goes through his phone and questions him about where he was. Yeah, I'm sure their relationship didn't last very much longer than however long they'd been together before. I don't even know. If you met at orientation too, this girl's probably a freshman and it is just giving the situation that I was in freshman year. So I relate. The next comment says, why are you so worried about your boyfriend's reaction to my tits? Can he not control himself? Is he a predator or something? Okay, if he is coming to visit off campus, he probably doesn't go to college, which is fine. No hate. I didn't finish college. Whatever. I'm not going to judge you for that. But he's probably older. If I had to guess, and if I could reach out to OP right now and say, was the boyfriend older? I'm so sure that he was. Or he was just some weirdo, degenerate townie that just wants to hang out on campus with all the little freshman girls. Go get a job. The last comment says, this is the answer. Other people's behavior is not your responsibility. No, it is not. You're not responsible for what other people do, and if he was staring at you, he's equally as creepy and deranged as she is. But us girls gotta stick together out here. And then the other thing for me too is like, why is she pointing and giggling with her little friends when they're walking in the hall? Like, I just imagine them I cannot stand this girl. She is giving mega bully vibes. I know this wasn't an Am I the Asshole story, but the girl in the dorm, you're an asshole. You suck. Be better. All right, speaking of not being in control of other people's actions, we're going to jump right into the next story that comes from r/confession. This one says, neighbor tried to get my mom fined over our shed, so I got his $40,000 pool filled in. I live with my mom. She's quiet, keeps to herself, and never bothers anyone. A few months ago, our neighbor decided to report her to the city for having an illegal shed in her backyard. This was total BS. The shed's been there for years and has full permits. An inspector came out, checked everything, and left without saying a word. But the neighbor, smug, proud, thought he'd scare us. So I did a little digging. Turns out his brand new pool was way too close to the property line and illegally built over a utility easement. I reported him, attached photos, and quoted city codes. 2 weeks later, the city ordered him to either move it, impossible, or fill it in. He lost the whole thing. $40,000 down the drain, literally. Now he gets to look at our completely legal shed every day while standing over a pile of dirt where his pool used to be. And hey, my mom sleeps great now. What's the saying that I always say? Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. I think on this one we need to up it a little bit to look around and find out. You're some type of stupid to call the city to come out and inspect an illegal shed when you have an illegal pool sitting in your whole ass yard right next door. You have to be some type of unhinged up here to think that that's a good idea in any way, shape, or form. The top comment in this one says, put a kid kiddie pool next to the shed. Diabolical. The next comment says, diabolical would be sitting in the kiddie pool facing where his pool used to be under an umbrella with an adult beverage in hand. Oh, I just love the flavor of petty that you guys are bringing right now in this comment section. These are great. I'm just picturing OP sitting there drinking a pina colada with his pinky out, sitting in his little kiddie pool, and his neighbor comes out and just giving him a little. The next comment says, while listening to great music from the stereo that fits nicely in the shed. Wow, you could really have a whole on pool party out there just to show him up. I love that for you. Someone else replies and says, if by great music you mean Hakuna Matata on repeat, then yes. The last comment on this post says, as I grow older, I've learned that most adults only seemed smart to us as kids. The world is unfortunately full of dumbasses. I'd also bet that the new neighbor is a pretentious prick who managed to successfully live above the rules and thought he'd never be held to the same standards of those he sees as less deserving than him. He sounds like a little baby boy who just needs his diaper changed. Don't go and complain about your neighbor if you're doing something wrong in your own yard. Idiots of the internet. I'm telling you, these people have no common sense. Be so for real right now. Oh my God. Personally, I vote for you putting a kiddie pool out there next to that damn shed and having a whole on pool party. Make sure that you follow every single guideline down to the T and just have a little fun with it. I mean, really dig in the petty revenge. Really let it sink in that this was you. Tell him it was you without telling him it was you by having this party. I think that's great. I am in full support for that. OP, it sounds like you have multiple votes to go and throw a pool party, so I better expect my invite in the mail. This one comes from r/am I the asshole, and it says, am I the a-hole for telling my brother-in-law to get over himself and to quit holding a 10-year-old grudge? My brother-in-law, married to my sister, is a general contractor. About 10 years ago, my dad and brother were building a deck at my parents' house. They asked my brother-in-law if they could borrow his skid loader, but he said no. They prepared the ground as best as they could without the skid loader, but got to the point where they couldn't go on without it. They went to my sister's house to ask again, but found out brother-in-law went out of town. They talked my sister into letting them borrow it, so she took them down to his construction company and they hooked it up to my dad's truck. The next part I'm not sure of since I don't know much about towing, but from what I was told, my dad's truck wasn't big enough or powerful enough to tow the skid loader on the dump trailer, so he lost control and wrecked. The truck, trailer, and skid loader was totaled. The insurance was barely enough to cover the medical costs and the truck. There was none left over to cover brother-in-law's stuff. When he got back to town, he exploded. He threatened to sue and things just went downhill from there. My parents are not rich and he wouldn't have gotten anything, so in the end, sister talked him into letting it go. However, from that day on, he wouldn't have anything to do with our family. He doesn't come for birthdays, holidays, or anything at all. Next month is our parents' 50th anniversary and we're planning a big family gathering to celebrate. We're also chipping in to send our parents on a cruise to Mexico because they've never been out of the country. I spoke to my sister about it the other day and she said she's coming with the kids, but my brother-in-law is not coming. I was fine with that, but when we were discussing their portion of the cruise money, I heard him yelling in the background to deduct their portion from the cost of the skid loader and the dump trailer. That pissed me off. After my call with my sister, I called my brother-in-law and told him to get over himself. I told dad and bro made a mistake, but that was 10 years ago and he needs to let it go. He said he'll let it go when they give him the money he lost. I told him he's being an ass for holding on to a grudge and putting money in the way of a family relationship. Sister called me a few minutes ago and said they're not coming and that I was out of line. We argued for a bit and that's where it stands. I don't think I'm wrong for telling him to let go of the past, but they're not coming to the anniversary party, so now I'm not sure. Be so for real. You did not just come online and post all of that just to sit here and not realize that you're the asshole? Buddy, are you stupid? Yeah, you're a huge asshole, and so are your dumbass parents. Are you serious right now? You borrowed his without him even being in the country, totaled it, ruined it, and then didn't pay him back? What's wrong with you people? You've had 10 years to make this right. I side with your brother-in-law and your sister. You guys sound like such weirdos, man. Be so for real right now. There's no way you just sat here and typed all of that out and still don't see how you're in the wrong. Are you serious? Do I need to hit you on the head with this? There's an edit from this guy. It says, answers to your questions. Let's get something straight. My dad and brother are not bad people. They are good people who made a mistake. They couldn't pay brother-in-law back because he wanted almost $70,000. And again, we're not rich. Dad had to buy another truck because he needed it to go to work. On the other hand, brother-in-law had 3 other sets of skid loaders and dump trailers on his lot so that he could take the financial hit while my parents would be homeless. Brother-in-law and sister are way better off than the rest of us. So while understanding that your reasoning of paying brother-in-law back, he doesn't need it. The cruise to Mexico isn't some millionaire trip. The total cost is about $3,000 and it'll take over 20 people to pay for that. Again, we're not rich. We can barely cover $3,000 spread out over 20 people. So there's no way we can pay $70,000. You suck. I hope you're out here listening to this. I can't wait to read these comments where I just know people are going to be ripping this dumbass a new one. You are an asshole. Your dad is a dumbass. What is wrong with you people? You've had 10 years. Make a payment plan. Pay the guy, what? A couple $100 a month for 10 years and then you could get that $70,000. Don't borrow other people's stuff and then for you to sit there and say, well, we're not going to pay him back because he doesn't need it. That's not the point. Okay, now I'm getting really loud. I just looked over at my recording and my audio things are like this. God, I just judging idiots on the internet. It gets my blood going. I feel like my face is hot right now. Like, these people are so stupid. You just typed all of that out and then tried to leave an edit as if you're in the right. Be so for real. This is Reddit. This community is going to call you on your bullshit in about 0.3 seconds. So let's go ahead and jump into the comments. The top comment on this one says, you're the a-hole. Your family stole $50,000 in work equipment from your brother-in-law. They didn't pay him back. By the sounds of it, showed zero remorse and he should just get over it. You and your family sound massively entitled and your brother-in-law is smart to cut the lot of you clean off. This comment has 55,000 upvotes and this guy's flair also says asshole enthusiast. I completely agree. I think that's everything that I just said as well. You guys sound like entitled morons. Don't borrow people's stuff. You didn't even borrow it. You stole it. That's a very good point. You straight up stole it. This guy told you no. You guys went ahead and did it anyways. You probably lied to your sister about it. And then no, you're not showing any remorse. You've had 10 years to pay this guy back. Listen, if you owe him $70,000 for his equipment that was rightfully his that he stole, that's $7,000 a year. Okay, I just did some math on this and you had 10 years to pay off $70,000. That's $583 per month. You need to have some accountability and grow the up, you little baby boy man child. Your dad's a man child too. Your mom's a man child too. I don't even care if she's a woman. Oh, you guys, this is ridiculous. If you can't afford it, don't steal. Don't do the crime if you can't do the time. Ah, my head's about to explode. Someone replies to this comment and says, not just that, I'm actually surprised the insurance paid out anything. In the UK, this would have been a fault claim and more likely than not outside the scope of insurance because they were towing beyond their vehicle limit. Parents should be grateful all he's done is ignore them. I would have sued. Courts, again in the UK, set up payment plans so their relative lack of wealth wouldn't be a major issue. Beyond that, I would have reported it stolen. To be fair about this, though, the sister shouldn't have let them have it against his wishes. It wasn't her stuff to share. He should be pissed off at her as well. Can't have a successful relationship if you're not on the same page. I do agree with that. However, look at the way that OP just posted this story. I would not be surprised if they went over there and gaslit the hell out of her and coerced her into giving over the stuff. I mean, maybe they lied and said, oh yeah, brother-in-law said it was fine, but because he's out of the country, like, we'll just be a couple minutes. Like, he said it was okay. I wouldn't be surprised that they lied to her. If they're gonna sit there and steal, I mean, what two things go hand in hand? The next comment says, the biggest surprise here is that he stayed married to OP's sister. You're the a-hole. I guess that's fair. I'm just giving her the benefit of the doubt. But also, if she's related to these goons, how do we know that she's not one as well? I mean, she did stand up for him and say that she wasn't gonna go to the party either. She wasn't gonna participate in it or whatever. Why the f do your parents need to go on a $3,000 cruise? Take that $3,000 and make it right fight with your brother-in-law and your sister, you weirdo. Someone replies to this comment and goes, yes, very curious about that dynamic since she wound up allowing it behind his back. That whole family is you're the a-hole. Maybe she was coerced, maybe she wasn't. For the sake of the story, all of these people except the brother-in-law suck. They should have been cut off a long time ago. The last comment on here says, not just that, but they also nicely washed their hands off by their own misdeed and haven't bothered paying back a single cent in 10 years. I understand they are poor, but that doesn't diminish a sense of responsibility. Instead of pitching in for a bloody cruise, they should have all been pitching in to help pay the brother-in-law back and try to fix the relationship that they broke. Edit to add judgment. You're the asshole, and so is OP's father and brother and anyone else who enables their attitude. As you all probably can guess, Reddit did deem this guy the a-hole, but I'm gonna give him one as well. Yes, you're an a-hole. You suck. This guy is absolutely horrible. I want to hear from you guys in the comments below. Who do you think today's biggest moron was? Obviously, I'm sure you guys can tell that for me, it is this last guy. I just hope he is having a storm of a life. Like, you stole from your own family and then you crashed their stuff and then you're sitting here being so entitled saying, well, they're rich, so they don't need it. That's not the point. I'm gonna come hit you with this. I'm gonna come tap you on the head a couple times so that you can get your shit together because you are clearly a dumb, a menace to society, an asshole, and in my opinion, the biggest idiot online. This story comes from r/confession. I faked liking sparkling water for 3 years and now I am trapped. I'm 30 now, but this started when I was around 27 during a phase where I was trying really hard to be one of those put together adults who meal prep, drink sparkling water, and have plants that aren't just slowly dying in the corner. So I bought a 12-pack of LaCroix because, you know, that's what the cool, healthy people were drinking. First sip, it tasted like someone whispered the word fruit into a cup of TV static. Absolutely disgusting. But I had already posted it on my Instagram story with the caption, new addiction. And that was the beginning of my downfall. Friends started bringing LaCroix over whenever they visited. Coworkers stocked it in the office fridge because I liked it. My girlfriend, now fiance, thought it was cute how into sparkling water I was, so she bought me a soda stream for Christmas. Now I'm in too deep. I've become the guy who nods thoughtfully while drinking what is essentially spicy sadness. I have flavors in my fridge with names like pamplemousse and limoncello, and I pretend like I can tell the difference. I can't. It all tastes like carbonated regret. Sometimes I just want a normal drink, but if I ever open a Gatorade, someone will say, whoa, no LaCroix today? And I'll just fake laugh like, gotta switch it up. Meanwhile, my soul is quietly screaming. Anyway, if you're young and reading this, never lie about your beverages. That stuff will haunt you. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. I hate sparkling water. I love fruit, but I cannot stand sparkling water. Sparkling water to me is like drinking hairspray while somebody silently whispers the name of a fruit from across the room. I am not a fan. I don't even think I'll drink it if it's in front of me. I guess the only sparkling water I like are these ones that are only legal in Colorado, if you catch my drift. You can only buy them at certain stores and be over 21 years old. Specifically in Colorado. We're not talking liquor. I don't drink. Why don't you just tell people that you're bored of it or tired of it? Like, you don't have to keep this going. Nobody's going to judge you. And honestly, in a couple of years, nobody's probably going to remember it either. Or you could just come out and tell everybody you lied. I think everybody would kind of think that's funny. If somebody came out to me and was like, I've been pretending to like terrible beverages for the last 3 years, I might judge you a little bit, but I might also kind of think it's funny. Let's see what the comments say. The top comment on this one says, tell everyone you're going carbonation free. Easy solution. People's taste buds change over time. You could also pretend they changed something in the formula and it's no longer pleasing your taste buds. I suppose if you have to continue lying to people, just tell them you don't like it. The next comment says, just pretend you have COVID and now everything tastes different. I mean, you never liked it. You literally jumped the gun and posted it saying new obsession and everybody took it literally. I don't know. I don't know about these people. If I'm going to post something obscure like that online and say new obsession, I guarantee my friends are going to be like, really? Are you you serious or is this a joke? The next comment says, you used to love eating ass. What changed? I'm sorry, Grandma. I got COVID and it's just not the same anymore. The next comment says, my dentist says carbonation is bad for my teeth. Tough getting older, ain't it? The last comment is actually from OP and they reply to all of this saying, I don't like it anymore. The honeymoon period is long over. Honey Bear, it sounds like you didn't even have a honeymoon period with the sparkling water. It sounds like you jumped the gun, took a sip, and then immediately regretted it. Why didn't you just delete your post on Instagram? It's up for like 3 seconds. Maybe a total of 4 people saw it, not the whole world, to where you have to continue this fuckery. You know, I kind of think that this is a little bit of karma for you for lying to people and for saying that this was your new obsession and for keeping it going this long. I think that the universe is giving you a little bit of karma by saying, now you're stuck with it. Look what you've done. Fake it till you make it, unless it is faking something that you absolutely hate. It's like, oh, what's that one lady's name? She's an actress. She looks like Zooey Deschanel, but she's not. Dakota Johnson in this interview where she is like, I think she was like showing her house or something on like some rich celebrity house tour bullshit, whatever. But she was sitting there and there was a huge pile of limes and she was like, oh yeah, I just love limes. They're my favorite. And then years later, she came out in an interview and she's like, I'm actually allergic to limes. So that's exactly what this is giving. Actually, now that I just said that out loud, didn't Blake Lively do the same thing? Ew, you're giving Blake Lively energy? Honey, no. Tell them you're over it. You're fine. Nobody's gonna judge you. I guarantee somebody else is gonna jump in and say, yeah, I hate sparkling water, and then it can start this whole funny conversation. Just go back and be honest. Get yourself out of this situation. Obviously, the Redditors are on your side. You have plenty of different excuses to give if you don't just want to be honest. That's fine. Do you? But you should probably come clean at some point. Otherwise, people are going to keep on dumping LaCroix onto you. The next story we're going to read comes from r/petty revenge, and it says, my extremely tiny and petty legally blonde moment. My 3-year odyssey of spite finally came together yesterday. When I was a fresh college grad in 2022, I dated an attorney for almost 3 months. He was a talented lawyer who spoke proudly about what he did for work, and I trusted his opinions about the legal profession. So after I finished a post-grad internship, I told him my real post-grad aspiration was to get a job at a law firm as a paralegal and work as one until I was ready to apply for law school. He literally scoffed at me and told me I would be better off as a court clerk. I don't mean to harp on court clerks at all. It's a very difficult job, but it is more administrative in nature, and from the way he said it, it was exceedingly clear that he meant the comment to be derogatory. He didn't elaborate on why he said this, but it was implied. I was taken aback and was really, really hurt, but hey, at 21 years old, I hadn't learned to have a spine yet, so I brushed it off. A few weeks later, I was working my first paralegal job. We broke up shortly after for reasons I'm sure you can guess. Anyways, he was right that I'm not going to be a paralegal. I took my LSAT last fall, scored in the 98th percentile, sent out my applications, and committed to UC Berkeley Law yesterday. Ranked about 90 spots above his law school, but hey, who's counting? And I'm going to become a lawyer. He is currently blocked on LinkedIn after I was the recipient of some profile creeping from him, but today I'm going to unblock him so he can see. Definitely reminiscent of the scene from Legally Blonde where she gets in the prestigious internship. Remember those hours we spent in the hot tub on spring break? Well, this is so much better. What? Like it's hard for you to get into law school and show this man up? I am so proud of you, girly. I love this for you. You're gonna make a bad lawyer someday. He sounds like a jerk. I love that you're unblocking him just to be a little petty, though. That is very satisfactory, but you are really gonna make a great lawyer, and I hope to God you encounter him in one of these spaces and get to rub it in just a little bit more. The top comment on this says, what, like it's hard? A good old quote from Elle Woods herself. The next comment says, my favorite story from Reese Witherspoon was when she had jury duty after doing Legally Blonde. They went through the trial, and in deliberation, the jury had decided a foreman. Every juror said that it should be Reese. She asked, why me? And they all said, because you went to law school. bend and snap, girl. Legally Blonde is one of my all-time favorite movies. I love it so much. This is cathartic. The next comment says, congrats, girl. Now just go represent his wife in divorce court. The next comment says, wild round of applause. You have put a narcissist in his place. You will be an outstanding lawyer because you have empathy. He does not. It really does take empathy to be a great lawyer, especially in defense or prosecution. You do have to have empathy. You do have to care about what you're doing, and it sounds like you really genuinely are. I don't know much about the LSATs or law school or anything like that, but 98th percentile, I do know what that means, and that means that you are at the very tippy top. The last comment says, congrats. Back in 2015, I noticed that my town was violating open meeting laws. I asked the city law director for an explanation, and he condescendingly offered to explain the law to me. I filed a lawsuit within that week, won the case, and then sued again a year later when the city violated the injunction. I won that case too. I started law school the same year. We settled the second case, and I am now a second-year attorney. The city wisely chose not to renew the contract of the bad law director. I really should send that guy a Christmas card. That is a great level of petty. This was a cathartic read. I'm very happy for all of you. You know, I have a friend who's going through it right now with her landlords, and we have been studying Colorado law, like just by the actual book. And these idiots still are sitting here saying, no, that's not correct. Even though we have looked up tenant law like a zillion times, we know exactly what it says. We understand what it says because we are resourceful queens. You know, I think that people who act like this and have these type of behaviors, I think they are going to have their day in court, whether it not be this time or the next time, but it will come back around to bite them in the end. I firmly believe that. So don't fuck with people that know the law. It's really not hard, especially now with ChatGPT and Google AI and all of those things. It is really easy to go in and type in the laws that you're searching for and figure out exactly what they say and to have it broken down in a way that you can understand and re-articulate later in the future. So all these people better really watch their backs. The next story comes from r/confession, and it says, I faked liking hiking and now I'm deep in the woods, literally and emotionally. I've been pretending to love hiking for years and now I'm in way too deep. It started as a lie to impress a guy and now I'm halfway to becoming Bear Grylls against my own will. So a few years ago, I started dating this guy who was all about adventure and living life to the fullest. He owned a Patagonia jacket and had a carabiner for some reason. On our third date, he asked if I liked hiking. I wanted him to like me, and so I said, oh my God, I love hiking. Nature is my therapy. Huge mistake. We went on a hike that weekend. It was 6 hours long. My legs almost gave out halfway up the trail, and I got bitten by a spider that may or may not have been poisonous. But I smiled through the pain and said things like, wow, look at that view, while secretly trying not to cry. Now it's 3 years later. We're still dating. I've become the hiking girl to all of his friends. People message me for trail recommendations. I've received gifts of hiking socks. I own a water bottle that says, take a hike, unironically. The worst part is that I hate hiking. I hate bugs. I hate sweating. I hate being more than 10 minutes away from a bathroom. But I've committed so hard that now I lead monthly group hikes for his coworkers. I have a Google spreadsheet for upcoming summits. I once pretended to love a view so much I cried. It was just the altitude and dehydration though. Now he wants to do the Inca Trail for our anniversary, and I'm Googling how to fake a knee injury convincingly. Please send help. Oh my God, you are an idiot. I'm sorry, girlfriend. You are so dumb. You don't fake liking something like hiking to somebody who likes hiking. That would be like me telling somebody that I love to run, even though I have very severe running-induced asthma and would probably die about 30 seconds in. These are the consequences of your actions, babe. I'm so sorry for you, but at the same time, I'm not. You have kept this up for 3 years. Oh my God, you're gonna end up marrying this guy. And then what are you gonna do if you have kids? Are you just gonna take all the kids hiking? Do you know how to take babies hiking? They put them in packs strapped to you. That is extra weight and a screaming baby that you're gonna have to carry around with this man. Please either get out of... you know what? There is no good ending for you here, honey. I hate to say it, but you have completely and utterly f***ed yourself over. There's no getting out of this. He's gonna break up with you. You have been holding on to such a severe lie. This isn't just a little lie of, oh, my hair is naturally blonde. No, this is a lie of your entire life is surrounded with hiking now. You have been faking your entire lifestyle, not just the color of your hair or that you prefer diet soda over regular. You have been faking your whole lifestyle to this man who is going to dump you as soon as he finds out. I'm sorry to tell you, but you should be prepared for that now. There's no getting out of this easily. The top comment says, find a new obsession and give hiking the slow fade. It needs to take up the same amount of time though, so you can miss one activity in favor of the other. The next comment says, yeah, say hiking has become boring and now you're into mountain climbing. The next comment says, skydiving should do the trick. These just get more unhinged. The next person says, I've decided to try out deep sea oil rig welding. Oh my God. You're going to get stuck into something else that you hate. You need to just break up. Throw the 3 years away. You did it yourself, you dummy. The next comment says, she's going to end up stuck hating something just like jujitsu or marathoning next. Just ending life old, bitter, and in excellent shape. The next comment says, great suggestion. Take up pottery if you can find a studio near you for a weekend lesson. They're typically like 3-hour classes. Someone replies to this comment and just goes, think, babe, we used to just walk on the earth. Now we get to create beautiful things with it. Now this is really embracing nature. You've convincingly sold that you were into hiking. I think you could sell pottery as the ultimate expression of embracing nature. If he is an avid hiker, he's not going to give that up easily. Hiking for a lot of people is not only like a physical activity, but for a lot of people, it's a mental activity. I love going on mild hikes. All right. I climbed a mountain one time. Okay. I climbed Alberta Peak back when I thought I was in my nature girly wannabe hiking fitness influencer era. Oh my God. We're not even going to talk about it right now. So I got up at 5 a.m. to climb this mountain. I am not a morning person. I trudged up the mountain all the way, all 12,800 something feet of it in Pagosa Springs. I'm really proud of myself that I did it. I can look back on my pictures and say, wow, these are so cool. But I cried a couple of times. I wanted to quit a couple of times. And then not only that, but if you're familiar with Colorado in the summertime, you know about our monsoon season. So yeah, I'm a genius. I decided to climb a mountain during monsoon season. And so once I got up to the top, I mean, maybe I'll just go ahead and post a picture right here for you guys to see all the little clouds in the background. Yeah, that was a monsoon coming. So I had the honors of running down the mountain to outrun the rain. I wasn't able to outrun it. I ended up having to stop. I was very scared. There was no cell phone service. I cried. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. The last comment says, I can sense an incoming Am I the A-hole story for breaking up with my girlfriend of 3 years. She just told me she hates hiking, but pretended to love it for the past 3 years. Organized trips for my friends and coworkers and everything. Told me it was her therapy. Yeah, you guys are gonna break up. I'm so sorry. No matter how much you like him and how much he likes you, you've been avidly faking your lifestyle and lying to this man for the last 3 years. Honey, set him free. You have made an ass of yourself. Like, you have 2 choices here as far as I see it. You can come clean. No, you have 3 choices as far as I can see it. You can come clean, in which case he is going to break up with you. You are going to be humiliated. He's definitely going to tell all of his coworkers and all of his friends. Option number 2 is you find something to replace this hobby with and just say, you know, I'm not really feeling hiking anymore. It was fun while it lasted, but now I'm thinking my nature therapy can be more sitting on a beach. Or option number 3, you keep going. You keep the lie going forever and ever and ever until the day you either die or really sustain an injury that prevents you from hiking again. So all 3 of those options suck. And unfortunately, that is just the consequence of your action here, honey. I don't know what to tell you. I could never do that. Like, you can't pretend to like something like hiking or running or weightlifting or jogging or biking or anything like that that requires a lot of your physical and mental mental capacity if you are not fully sold on it. Like, OP, if you're out there watching, I think I probably should have included you on my episode that I posted on Tuesday where we judged idiots of the internet, because you definitely fall into that category here. You faked it, but you cannot make it unless you're going to continue faking it for the rest of your life. And do you really want to live a lie like that? No. This post is only 5 days old, so I'm going to keep an eye on it. And if we get an update, I will absolutely come back to let you guys know, because something is going to go horribly, horribly wrong for this person. And I think it's going to be funny to watch the fallout. Comes from r/anti-work. And it says, I automated my job over a year ago and haven't told anyone. I saw some similar posts to this, so I thought I'd jump on the bandwagon. I work for a mid-sized law firm that hired me as an IT specialist to handle all of their digital evidence for trials. The law firm was in the process of changing their evidence managing system to a cloud base and wanted me to be the only person with admin access to the cloud. Everyone else would be limited to view only and would work on a local network drive. Sounds great, but I quickly realized this was the only task expected for me to perform in my 8-hour shift. This was in no way an 8-hour job, so I was stuck finding busy work at the office most of the time. Then COVID happened and I was asked if there was anywhere I could work from home. I set up a remote workstation, tunneled it into my house, and that's when the real fun began. In about a week, I was able to write, debug, and perfect a simple script that performed my entire job for me. It essentially scans the on-site drive for any new files, generates hash values for them, transfers them to the cloud, and then generates hash values again for fidelity. In court, you have to prove that digital evidence hasn't been tampered with. I clock in every day, play video games, or do whatever, and at the end of the day, I look over the logs to make sure everything runs smoothly, then I clock out. I'm only at my desk for maybe 10 minutes a day. For a while, I felt guilty, like I was ripping off the law firm, but eventually I convinced myself that as long as everyone is happy, there's no harm done. I'm doing exactly what they hired me to do. All of the work is done in a timely manner, and I get to enjoy my life. Win-win for everyone involved. Good for you. I have this saying that I love, and it is work smarter, not harder. And you did just that. You are working smarter by making this automated. And realistically, it sounds like you created an entire software program for them to utilize that's completely automated, even if they don't know about it. You still did something that is tremendously helping them out. That way they don't have to deal with bugs and crashes and stuff like that. So really, I'd say it is a win-win. If I had a job like that, I would probably attempt to do the same. I don't know anything about coding or anything like that, but you bet your ass I would not want to find busy work in the office. Ugh, that's horrible. I hate that. I have ADHD, and there is nothing I hate more than trying to find busy work. It's the worst. It's awful. Oh my God. It is like worse than brain rot, in my opinion. I hate busy work. Busy work is like, I am not a busy worker. I don't like it one bit. I've definitely worked at places before where it's been like that, so can relate. The top comment on this one says, think of your wages as a subscription service to your automation program. Big companies love subscription services, right? Right. There you go. They're just subscribing to your automation. And if you weren't there, they wouldn't have the automation and they would probably go and pay a lot for it. So I think you're fairly being paid right now. The next comment says, I work in IT and the biggest expense I often see is not the software or the license, but the support agreement. Even if everything is smooth sailing and the support is not needed, firms are willing to pay far more than a well-paid IT salary to have support ready to go should they ever need it. Properly run organizations will also have proper budgets to make sure that the infrastructure or functions that are integral to the operation of the organization don't halt. You're providing them with AAA support on their automation software. Hell, you're even on exclusive standby for immediate support should they need it. Maybe you could expand your business then? Yeah, why don't you start your own business making these automators and then selling them to other companies? You could still just work from your house for, your good 10 minutes a day and just sell your program. I think that's a great way to expand and make more money if you feel like you could. The next comment says, legend. This is true anti-work. You're providing the exact services as required and they're paying for said services. Well done. I applaud you. Yeah, you sure cheated the system here. And if this is a multi-million-dollar company, I am in full support support of everything that you're doing. The next comment says, if it helps you justify it, they're not paying you for the 10 minutes a day it takes you to do that. They're paying you for the work that needs to be done reliably and an expert on standby full time, ready to jump in and address any issues as they happen. If you leave, even if you leave the script, they do not replace you, and if something goes wrong, they're up Schitt's Creek without a paddle. Yeah, they are paying you to be on standby most of the day, and you know, if you do have things that arise, then yeah, you're definitely doing the right thing. The last comment says, I feel like all these types of posts teach me that 1, I need to learn how to code, and 2, I need to find a laid back office job. You are entirely right. I love all of these stories. Don't fake it till you make it unless you're prepared for the outcome. It sounds like this guy had a pretty good outcome, but maybe not the people before. Comment below. Have you ever faked it until you made it with something? I want to hear from you. Give me all of your tea. All right. Bonus story number 1 comes from r/AITAH, and it says, am I the a-hole for refusing to apologize for slapping my boyfriend when he smashed our birthday cake onto my face? A 34-year-old woman, boyfriend, Charles, who's a 38-year-old man, and I celebrate our birthdays together. This year, I contributed a small private room at a restaurant, and we invited 11 people. 4 of them are my local friends. The rest are his family members. I wanted to celebrate a new achievement in my career and thought it would be great to just splurge a little and get some delicious food. So we had access to the menu, drinks, and our cake. I agreed to pay for half of the food, aside from having rented the small space myself. The space was paid for in advance, and the food was paid for at the end, as in any restaurant. We had issues last year because I felt that he was doing low effort things when I always did my best to give him a nice birthday celebration. We have an income gap, but it wasn't even about money. I was making less money last year and I still made things work for him. So this year he took care of inviting people, paying for the cake, and got me a spice rack as a present, which I loved. I made myself pretty, got my eyebrows and eyelashes done, and had my hair done. We were told to pose and pretend to blow out the candles because I didn't want to blow our germs on the cake. That's responsible of you. Then we each had a picture alone with the cake. When it was my turn, I was holding the cake when he pushed my face towards it and I tried to fight it. His family started cheering and he arched over my body and forced me to bend over until my face smashed in the cake. My friends tried to get him off of me and he resorted to plastering the cake and frosting on my hair. I don't need to describe the mess because I'll never be able to end this post, but I ended up slapping him when he attempted to do it again. His mother got up and she got into an argument with one of my guests. I had to cross the main floor with cake all over my face to use the restroom. When I looked in the mirror, I had cake on my neck and my blouse and red and blue coloring that did not ever come off. I had to wash my face and put my hair in a bun because it looked less messy that way. When I came back, his family were all long faces. I told them what he did was unacceptable, and he said that it was just a joke and that everybody has done that for ages and that me slapping him just ruined my image in front of his family. I started crying and gathering all of my stuff, preparing to leave. I notified him that he should pay for himself and his guests. My friends insisted on paying for their own food, but I refused, and we ended the night right then and there. My friends wanted to treat me to having dinner elsewhere, but I was not comfortable with my appearance. They ended up sending me the money that I spent, and that broke my heart. Charles had to pay for half of the remaining bill and got charged a cleaning fee. I still love him, but I'm clear that I'll never be able to forgive him. We talked about it, and I ended things. He's convinced that I never loved him. He acknowledged what he did was wrong, but is adamant that his family hates me for slapping him and that it's all my fault. I told him that he ruined not only our birthday, but also my way to celebrate my career milestone. I've worked very hard to get where I am, and that his behavior showed me what my future will look like if I stay with him, and that I'm sorry to say it, but he was so aggressive and so focused on making his family laugh at my expense that I just realized he's not good enough and that I've lost my confidence to be seen with him in public because I don't know what else he'll pull out of his ass. He says he paid for the cake and that he's not saying that it was okay to smash it, but it's not like I paid for everything. He wanted me to apologize to his mom, but I refused. Important thing to note, I'm not proud of my reaction. We've never had any physical altercations. He says his mother feels humiliated because of what I did, and that she's been struggling with mild depression for years. I didn't know that. And that I came off as violent. So Reddit, am I the a-hole for refusing? I already blocked him. Edit, his guests paid for the other half of his bill after being told they needed to not pay for anything. This man is disgusting. He is for the streets. We have all seen the cake smashing videos online. Every single one of us, I guarantee it. And if you're gonna tell me you haven't, you're either lying or not chronically online. And if you're watching this podcast, girl, we already know you're chronically online. I am too. It's fine. He's disgusting. That's horrible. I hate that for as much for you as I do for every other video that I see of, oh my god, especially like poor brides getting their faces just smashed in the cake. One, it's dangerous. You don't know if toothpicks are in the cake holding it up. You don't have any idea. So if your face goes into it, what if a toothpick goes straight through your eyeball? That's traumatizing. That's gonna make my eyes water talking about. That's awful. Like if there's candles in it too, you even said that there were candles in it that you didn't want to blow out because of the germs. What would have happened if one of those went into your eyeball and blinded you permanently? And then for him to want you to apologize to his mommy. Oh, grow up. Be so for real. You don't owe that horrid woman an apology. It sucks that she's struggling with depression, but you didn't do anything wrong. There is a term called reactive abuse, and it's basically reacting in an abusive manner to somebody who has abused you. So you slapping him and trying to get him to stop probably falls under the territory of reactive abuse. And I'm not saying that's okay. I'm not saying that any abuse is okay ever. However, in this circumstance, maybe it wasn't even reactive abuse, actually. Maybe I want to change that. I think it was more of your reaction and reacting in self-defense. Like, I would be scared if somebody smashed my face in a cake. I would get claustrophobic. I have asthma. I would not be able to breathe. It would be horrible. I would have terrible anxiety. I would be sent probably into a full-blown panic attack. And when you're harming somebody like that, I don't even necessarily, I mean, I don't know. Maybe, are there any therapists out there listening? Shout out to all my therapists. Love you guys. If there's anybody out there listening that has like a psychology degree, do you consider this reactive abuse, or was this more acting in self-defense? I'm kind of leaning towards the notion that it was more in self-defense, honestly, but I'm not a professional. I'm just a girl. But I'm not a professional. I'm just a girl who's here to give my unfiltered, unsolicited hot takes to you guys on the internet. So comment below. What do you guys think? Do you think this was justified? I kind of think it was justified. I mean, I'm not, like I said, I'm not for anybody like hitting anybody, but if you were afraid he was gonna do it again, I mean, the man came back to do it again already. He smashed your face in it, and then she said that he came at her again to smear it in her hair and her blouse. You, dude, you suck. I'm really, OP, I'm really glad you broke up with him. You deserve so much better, and I'm really glad that you realized that. You will find somebody that's going to respect you. Also, can we get the narcissist bell up in here or something? Because this guy, oh, this is an Am I the A-hole story. I forgot my gavel. It was sitting right here the whole time. This is what I get for Chief Keefing before I record, so. No, you're not the a-hole. Not at all. Don't say sorry to his mom. Keep him blocked. He's a child. He's 38. Ew. Talk about a loser who's gonna be alone for the rest of his life. Stop putting people's faces in food! Ugh! Drives me nuts, because then the whole cake is wasted, and that goes into an issue of wasting food, which I already don't like anyways, but I'm so sorry that you went through this. This really, really sucks. We're gonna dive into the comments and see what the comments have to say, but as for right now, you're not the a-hole, my dear. The top comment says, not the a-hole. The reason being is that you physically resisted having your face forced into a cake. He did it anyways, and attempted to do so a second time. I don't blame you for the slap in this situation. He tried to force you again when you clearly didn't want to the first time. If someone were trying to force my face into a cake I was holding, I would have dropped it right on the floor and walked out the door. I would be done with that relationship. It was not a joke. No means no. He and his family sound like a whole entourage of assholes. You're right, they do, an entourage of assholes, a gaggle of that's exactly what they are. They're acting like complete goons. That's not okay. If anybody puts food on my face in any regard, we're done. We're not friends anymore. We're not talking anymore. We're not dating we're not anything. Do not put food on my face. I will absolutely freak out. My skin is so sensitive. I'll break out literally all over my face. And if you cause me to have a reaction like that, we are done. I would have absolutely walked out too, but I don't blame OP for what you did. And I think also you have some really, really sweet friends out there, and I love that for you. It's really good to have support in times like these. OP actually responds to that comment and says, also, I panicked a bit because I was thinking I would get my nose and passageways blocked. I have asthma. Yep, girl, you're not the a-hole. it's been decided. We are getting the formal, not the a-hole. Ugh, having asthma sucks. I have had asthma literally my whole life. There is not a single point in my life where I don't remember carrying an inhaler with me. Like, I've literally had asthma my entire life. And having, oh my God, having your nose blocked up like that, having your mouth blocked up like that with cake, like, I can't even imagine the thought of that. Just, I'm getting anxious right now. Can you guys feel my anxiety through the screen? I don't like this one bit. This is nightmare fuel for me. The next comment says, my family hates that you defended yourself when I physically assaulted you in front of them. OP, I'm so glad you got out safely. Yup, couldn't have said it better myself. He's gonna defend these people and say you should apologize to his mommy? Go cry. Go cry me a river right now. I will put a tube in it and use it as a lazy river. Go. The next comment says, exactly. His mother should apologize to you and everyone else for raising a violent baby boy. The last comment says, wait, she thinks you came off as violent after watching him struggle to force your face into cake? You did it right. He sounds abusive and lazy. Throw him and the whole idiot family away. Could not agree more. Again, OP, if you need to hear it from the official judge, and I am the official judge. There is nobody more official than me to judge this story. You're not the a-hole. I really hope you find somebody who values you and loves you, because you sound amazing and your friends sound really solid, and I really hope that things get better for you, because you just don't deserve that. You don't sound like the type of person that needs to have a lesson taught to them, and this is some lesson-y type bullshit if I ever seen it myself. Alrighty, my friends, we're gonna move on to the very last bonus story of today. I have had enough of idiots and people who had half a brain cell and just let it wander into the cauldron of Yellowstone. I mean, these people replaced their brain cells with the audacity. We're gonna get into a little bit of a palate cleanser here at the end. This one is more funny idiocy as opposed to it being terrible idiots. So this one comes from TIFU, and it says, today I f***ed up by jumping into a lake in my bra and panties to save a man that turned out to be an elite military scuba diver in training. I'm couch surfing with my sister and her boyfriend. I work for him at the lakeside bar trying to pay for college. My state is open, and while I'm not thrilled, I both need the job and my scored sofa accommodations to make it work. To give them their space and myself a break from the doom scrolling, I take this run by the lake in the morning. This lake is bomb ass and draws scuba divers to the flooded town at the bottom. Today I was in my own head running when a dark mass floated onto the surface 40 feet away. I was on the craggy side of the lake and this dude looked dead. D-E-A-D, dead. Facing away from me, his head was tipped back, eyes closed, bobbing like a fish lure. No one else was around, so I thought he was quantum crazy out here scuba diving alone at the crack ass of dawn, giving himself bends or some nonsense. Like a jackass, I didn't want to yell at him to check in. Instead, I toweled off my shoes and stripped into my skinnies to save the imbecile. The movie trailer in my head had me taking 3 glorious steps and launching into the deep blue water, Black Widow style. Instead, my tender feet hit the sharp rocks and I contorted under the pain like a slinky as I uncoordinatedly pitched myself into the water, doing a side flop. I was also wearing my contacts, so I swam hard in his directions with my eyes completely closed. When I opened them, he was dead ass staring at me like I'd lost my ever-loving mind, so I blurted out, "Are you okay?" He removed his regulator and said, "Yes." My brain blue screened while I treaded water. The lake felt infinitely deep. Before I could terrify myself by hearing the Jaws theme song, I turned to nope the hell out of there, yelling over my shoulder, "I thought you needed saving," to explain my idiocy. As I pivoted, another dude cleared his throat from 30 feet away on the other side. I never heard a sound from him, so I freaked out, flailing and belting an ear-wounding scream at him. Both asshats laughed as a few more heads surfaced around us. I was surrounded by divers, all wildly entertained by my ridiculous high-octane FU. After pointing to me and the beach, the merman that was originally my target cautiously swam towards me after I nodded and escorted me to the shore. The beach was much further than I had anticipated, so I was trying to low-key breathe, hiding my need to suck in all of the oxygen from the air. Also, the comedy of the situation consumed me, and I joked, "Dude, you are lucky you weren't actually dying, because it would have taken everything I have to drag your sorry ass this far. He chuckled before offering me a toe. Hell no, not gonna happen. Even if I had to doggy paddle, I wouldn't openly accept that defeat. He quietly mocked me the rest of the way to the shore. I'm a secret sap for it. There were cadets or recent graduates from a military college here for the summer. They've been training in pools and were doing some open water exercises. They had been out there at least part of the night. I'm sure I blew up whatever drill they were running. He's training for pre-dive school, and since I am an expert Googler, I'm guessing that means combat diving. At the shore, I did my best to throw my shoulders back and march out of the water in my sports bra and undies in front of what I can only imagine were some pretty badass men. I did invite him and his crew for an absurdly overpriced beer at the bar tonight before shame jogging back into the woods for my clothes. Wow, OP, you are a legend, dude. This is so funny. I had to stop multiple times reading this just to start laughing so that way I could come back to reading it and you guys would understand what I was saying. This falls in like my top 25 favorite Reddit stories. This one is so funny. I just imagine you flailing your arms out to the water to go save this guy. You're just probably 120 pounds of nothing trying to go save a grown man in gear. You did the right thing though. You have a huge heart. I mean, honestly, this sounds like it could have been something out of a rom-com movie. I'm surprised you didn't ask for his number. He sounds like a little cutie patootie. You guys would be great together, but whatever. The top comment says, I feel like there are probably easier ways to get a guy. A+ for effort. OP responds and says, so what you were saying is that being spectacularly stupid is not gonna help me pull? It depends on the guy. If you find a really right guy who's just totally into the goofiness, then yeah, probably. If I were a dude and I was in the military and I was out doing stuff like this in the water and somebody came and did this to me, I'd probably be pretty into it. That's really, really funny. Being in the military, aren't they like out supposed to be like saving people's lives or whatever? So technically, I mean, you just jumped in and helped them out. So I think it's pretty awesome of you. The next comment says, hey, at least now you're past the embarrassment stage of getting undressed in front of him for the first time. See, OP, everyone thinks you should date. You should go back and find this man. The next comment says, honestly, I find this admirable and wholesome. Kudos to you for being an empathetic and courageous person. I completely agree. Good for you, OP. It takes somebody with a huge heart and just a couple of brain cells loose to be able to go and risk their life in freezing cold lake water to be able to save somebody who's potentially drowning. I think you're a great person. You sound really funny too. The last comment is from OP and she's replying and saying, dude, I appreciate it, but you don't even know the half of it. I was wearing raggedy ass elastic showing pair of cotton undies covered in neon dragonflies. Only you can't tell that they are dragonflies and they look like penises with massive glow in the dark turquoise blue balls. These are the only types of undies that get their own clause in the prenup. My ex has never seen them. Oh my god, the hot rush of shame. I love you and I love that you came to Reddit to tell this story. You definitely picked the right audience for this one. I think this is amazing. What do you guys think? Who is the biggest dumbass of today? Who f***ed up the most? I can't believe this. These episodes, I think this week was probably my favorite week of episodes that I've done so far. I had so much fun recording them. I think hearing about stories of people just being dumb online is one of my all-time favorite things. Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. If you've been watching for a while, okay, or if you've seen any of my other episodes that weren't from this week, let me know about my studio lighting. Like, for real, I'm like looking into like my tiny little camera lens right now. I think it looks bomb. I think it's giving glowy, but obviously I haven't seen any of it on my computer yet and I probably won't for a few days. So let me know what you guys think, if you like it or not. I don't have a headache at all like I normally do after recording, so it's getting a 10 out of 10 from me, but I want to hear what you guys think. Your opinion matters to me, as do all of you, you precious little commenters. I love this. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you guys have a wonderful week this week. I will see you on Tuesday for the next one. Bye!